Hello and welcome to Races Without Borders International. We are joining us today for a second round of British GT4 Championship, round 2 on Oulton Park, and it's me, Races, will commentating for you. I'm being joined by my fellow compatriot friend, Racer, as well. It's Rod.
Hey, you know who it is. Let's go. I'm excited for this next round.
We're starting here with about 9 minutes left in the qualifying. Currently looking at the Deanly Banks in the Aston Martin. What looks to be an outlap. All the traffic around. I think that's something to talk about after previous race.
For those that haven't tuned in to round 1, we're looking out for Alex Rogers, Camaletto, Ulrich, our podium of the first round, who are currently at the top of the standings in the championship. Alex Rogers in the BMW GT4. And at the moment, it looks to be another pole position for Rogers, unless somebody can up the times currently. And, well, I'm sorry, folks, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we've got a very vastly different overall standing right now to what we had in the last round, though we do have Rolling, who comes up a little bit, as well as friend Deanly Banks, who also comes up into P5, seems to be satisfied with that result now in the pits. And let's let these last 8 minutes roll, see what times we see.
They're currently following Daniel Barnett on his hot lap into the final corner. 24 ends up on his previous best, and that would rocket him up quite high. So let's see, after he crosses the line where he goes, it's P3, just 1.5 tenths behind our leader Alex Rogers. But someone I'm interested about is Jack Camaletto. He was, as we said, P2 last weekend. Am I correct? Yeah, second place. And currently down in P13, that's a big jump from Snetterton. Maybe not sweeting the track or something, but
I have a feeling Camaletto has got the ace in his sleeve yet. There's still 6 minutes to go. Could do a few laps still, and we might see him jump up here after these few laps up and higher into the standings. But if he doesn't, then we've got a problem, because absolutely Camaletto was going really far up, and now we see him here in P13. Something could have gone wrong related to the setup or the track, something of the sort, but we'll only be able to find out once this qualifying is over. Unexpected from Camaletto.
yeah, well, after almost fighting for the lead, after a little bit of collisions there were between Camaletto, Roiling, Ehrlich, and also Rogers. It was almost a chase, but it was just Alex Rogers being consistent, being fast with the M4 and managing the gap. It was almost as big as 8 seconds at some point. But this time there might be a little bit more surprises. One of them might be Martin Schaefer in a Ginetta. This track might suit the Ginetta a little bit more than Snetterton, as there are not many straights on the corner. It's more about how much can you go through the corners. It's more about the handling of the car. So it might be a good hunting ground for Martin Schaefer.
I agree. Ginetta is a pretty good car in this particular track. I've seen the Ginetta get taken out before in something like Monza, and that's asking for your limiter to go all the way up. But in a track like this, Ginetta can benefit because, like you said, a pretty twisty track. There are no very, very long straights. There's plenty of turns. And I think then the Ginetta, being so nimble, can take an advantage from that. We can see there we had a quick snippet of Camaletto's driving. And we saw a little bit of struggling going on there, maybe. And going back on topic, yes, I think the Ginetta can do well in this track.
Currently looking at Mikko Sky in the Mercedes, occupying the 32nd place really far down the grid, but on an improvement of their lap. Excuse me, but from the name I can't tell whoever talking about this guy who touches the grass.
Woo! There he
Part of the
goes.
circuit and goes really
Oh, off he
wide.
goes.
But someone on the improvement is Carlos Barros, 2 seconds up on his previous best. This could be a great lap for him if he manages to pull it together out of the final corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to pay attention to this top 10 in this round at the moment, because we've got only half a second of difference between our 10th in Marko Badowski and our current pole sitter. And well, first time 42.09, 42.1, 42.2. It's going to be tight. If these drivers can maintain those types of times in the race, which, I mean, they won't. They will obviously have to go back a little bit, fuel strategies, etc. But if they can keep that sort of tightness in the gaps in race pace, we're going to have very, very close racing here in Oulton. And good afternoon to Martin Peters. That's good evening in the YouTube chat. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
And we saw there was a big wide moment from Felix Fritsch going out of the final corner. That corner can really catch you out easily because you think that it's already happened, but you are just in the middle of it, and all of a sudden you see the outside grass. Really easy place to just go off and get a warning. Meanwhile, for the lead, it still looks like Alex Rogers is keeping up. Although Martin Ulrich has something to say on probably what might be his final attempt to beat Alex Rogers. We shall see how he goes through the sections. Currently, it's really tight between him and Rogers. Even on the current lap, Ulrich does not seem to have a big improvement, but he does not need much. It's just 0.084, so it's slightly better line through a corner, slightly later on the brakes, early on the gas.
Interesting. Martin Ulrich in this Mercedes. Last performance we saw from Martin Ulrich, he managed to get a 3rd position in the first round. And looks like he's playing to 1-up in this round. At least from qualifying perspective, he's very close to Rogers and the Alpine in front of him too here in the exit. And he's very, very close to that P1 position, but it looks like it's not going to be this lap. And it looks like it's not going to be the next one either, as the checkered flag is going to be called before he can finish this lap. Looks like he slowed down a little bit. And it looks to be, ladies and gentlemen, that Alex Rogers is going to take this one home. But now, can he translate that into a race win? We will see. Lots can happen. We saw in the very last stream, RWB, we had plenty of action going on, a bit of touching around between the corners. Lots of things can happen. Races can go from very good to very bad, and vice versa in just a few corners. So let's see if Rogers can keep it up.
It looks like Daniel Barnett going on to his final flying lap. So let's look on the onboard and see what he has in store in the
And Oh.
That's it for the lap.
That is it for Daniel Barnett, who looked to be on a pretty good lap there, but off into the grass after that straight, and I believe that was Druids he was going into and just didn't materialize, so Barnett has to remain in P3. And we can see here everybody in... Yeah, there it is. Rogers goes in.
Quite enthusiastically going into the pit lane. So it's Alex Rogers again on the pole position for the race. Martin Ulrich behind him and Daniel Barnett, top 3. And it's quite close. Really, what looks to be a second between 15 cars. If they can keep this level of closeness for the race, it's going to be a blinding one.
Right.
As the drivers are getting ready for the race, thinking out the strategy, the fuel levels, what are you going to do? Are you going to take tires? With 80-minute race, you might think that it is worth it, but can you gain the 25 seconds on this track when you stop?
Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of information on our race format tonight. Similar to the last round, if not exactly the same. We've got a 80-minute race. We've got 1 mandatory refuel, and the pit window is 70 minutes. And well, they're going to have to work around that. Those 80 minutes, what sprit strategies are going to be going down. We can only assume that we will be having maybe 1 or 2 pits max, or man, that's what I would do. And well, for our starting grid, ladies and gentlemen, we currently have Rogers in pole position, who took the fastest lap, Ulrich and Barnett in P3. And that is our starting podium. Schaefer 5th, Rolling 6 Banks in the 7th, 8th for Rigel, 9th goes for Plate, 10 goes for the 917 BMW DOR, Binnersley next. Camaletto, who gave a star performance in the last round, seems to have gone a little bit down. Kruger, no name, in P13. Crew in 14th, Newcomer 15th, Varley 16th, Mad Al in 17th in the Ginetta, Godzilla in the Chevrolet, that Red Bull colors, beautiful, 18th, Schoblum and Merchant, Sharp, Barrowclough, Anderson, Sky, Bull, Gretschel, complete the top 25, Audi in an Audi, what a surprise. In 27th, Mertens, 28th, Wilk, Hacks, that goes top 30, Mole, Lenz, Shepard, Eugenie, Barros, Pinpoint, Felix Fritsch, the 96 Ginetta, Flack, Simcox, and Tass complete our top 40 drivers tonight. FXUK, Koss, Charger, Thunder, Schoblum, and Burley complete the 46 cars on the grid tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, that was something that I needed a breather there. We've got a lot of cars going on right now.
It's a huge grid, and if that does not bring a smile to your face, seeing this many cars on a grid ready to just have a good time in the end, because this is what it is about, the sim racing. It's about having a good time, meeting people, talking with people about what is going on, making friends, sometimes making enemies, but it's part of the sport. In the end, we are here to enjoy, but also compete, and you're not going to make friends by winning their races. As we know, motorsport, it's a piranha world. You need to be to succeed. You need to have that healthy dose of aggression and selfishness, you could say. It's no in racing. You might deserve, but you have to take it from them.
Yeah, my brain melted down there for a second as I was going through pitwall.live, trying to get through all this data. So can you, the viewer, enter pitwall.live and go to the RWB section and come into the booth with us and have all of this awesome data and information on the race going on with track map and stream and all the gaps and times available in pitwall.live, so you can take a look at that alongside the race. Lots of really interesting data going on there. And that will give you a new perspective into the race, beyond, of course, what our excellent commentators will give you tonight.
World class.
World class, the commentator's sensation. You know it. 20 seconds to session start, ladies and gentlemen, and we're almost underway for 1 hour and 20 minutes of British GT4.
The final setup preparations done, engines started. Nerves are certainly starting to rise, heartbeat at its highest. As we start the short formation lap. Let's see who can get maybe the jump on the lights. Who can be the bravest into turn 1, but a little bit of caution definitely will be at hand during the first lap with this many cars.
Here we go into Lodge Corner. The final preparations are in. It's all or nothing here at the start of the race, and here we are about to go through the finish line and begin the race. Green flag, Rogers in pole position. How can he make this exit work? Let's find out. And we are underway for British GT. Rogers gets away well, keeps that pole position. Ulrich and Barnett going in. Barnett going in, immediately pushing in to get that P2 position. Doesn't seem to materialize, but oh, there's almost some touching there as you've got Badowski in the back, who also wants to get some action. And looks like the positions haven't changed very much. But here at the top, but there was definitely some intention of getting some positions early here, and off we go into the oils corner. And currently Rogers, Ulrich, and Badowski complete our current podium. You can see Barnett went into for that early aggression, but it didn't work out. He's now in P4. Badowski in the Mercedes taking P3.
It was a good start from Alex Rogers. Just clean, did not give anyone a chance to even get alongside him into turn 1. But Ulrich is closely behind. He did not lose that much time in the skirmish that was there. Barnett puts a wheel on the grass. Ulrich definitely smells blood in the water, even though it is just lap 1. So we can say about Badowski being close behind the red and white Mercedes.
See, Mark Badowski took really good advantage of the situation at the beginning. Barnett really wanted to go in for that P2, but Ulrich managed to squeeze him into the line closest to the grass, and he just couldn't get that turn in properly. He had to pull out, and well, now you see him here, P3, and he looks to be pretty darn close to Ulrich into some of these corners. We may be seeing him fighting here, and Ulrich is going to have to really think that through if he's going to get anywhere close to Rogers for an attack, that he's got that Mercedes right behind him. Off we go into Cascades, and let's take a look at Mr. Badowski. And we go and listen to that.
The roar of the GT4's throwing the cars around into the really steep banking in the hairpin at the back.
We go into oils. Here we're going to Britain, see how this chicane gets run. Lots of grass kicking up here. Always happens. A lot of cutting going down. Looks like there has not been any slips. There's always a risk of running into the grass that you might run into way too far in, and then things get real ugly, but doesn't seem to be the case here, at least not at the front. And Rogers still maintaining that gap, but it's not too much. Just half a second, a few seconds ago, gap slowly closing from Ulrich. And
yeah, as we saw, Rogers not kind of friendly with that chicane. Again, we saw him going a little bit wide on the approach. I think he will have to adjust his lines for the corner soon, because it keeps him under the pressure from the guys behind. And we saw last race he was able to just create that big gap and not look back, and I think that's something he will want to try and replicate also in this race. As we have a wide moment here from Porsche driver Daniel Barnet.
Oh, off goes Daniel Barnet. Yep, off he goes, but he's managed to recover and get back onto the track. That's going to cost him. There was also another accident involving a number 5 car that belongs to, one moment, Mr. RWB Tass seems to have been involved in an accident. We've got plenty of swaps and a bit of slips going down further at the back, but pretty clean racing so far here at the front of the grid in Barnet. Oh, you've got Banksy coming up on Mr. Daniel Barnet now.
And Barnet going a bit wide, but you want to extend that exit as much as you can. That's as we are here, there's a little bit of fighting going on. Looks to be ammo plate, yeah, in the classic Audi driver.
That was a bit of touching from the BMW behind. Was that, or was that just me?
Might have been a slight friendly touch.
That looked to me like a little love tap, but then again, I am pretty paranoid about getting hit when I'm off on the track, so...
Here's the door in the Beamer. A speed window opens, and I don't think we are going to have much speed activity, mainly at the front of the grid. Currently, some people further down the order might take early pit stop to get out of the traffic. Maybe if you are somewhere around the bottom of the top 20.
No need to take any pit stop right now. Definitely not right now. Definitely not in maybe 20 minutes at least. There's still fuel. There's still tires. There's still brakes. Not that brakes are going to wear out in an hour. But got to, everything's fine. Car's running. As long as they don't have any sort of damage, I see no reason to pit. And it doesn't look like we've had any sort of big accidents so far. So
there have been a couple of yellow flags shown during the lap. But nothing that would result in a full course yellow.
Yeah, we had a little small accident involving Charger, seems to have gotten back into it. Also something for the number 55 car, who also seems to have been reported to have had an accident. And that belongs to Mr. Farley, Philip Farley, also an unknown name. At least one that I've definitely heard before. Let's take a look here. RWB Godzilla, you know who it is. We've seen this shiny Red Bull Chevrolet before in P15. And behind him he's got a Dave Crew and those beautiful colors on that Aston Martin. Love the paint, but... Oh, we've got a little bit of... Wow, did you see that from Sublim? Look at that. He just went up in the air. I saw that. He was on 3 wheels right there, at least, if he wasn't up in the air completely. A bit of rally cross going down, some rally GT up in here. I like that. Not sure if that's very fast, but it definitely looked cool. And he continues his charge. From this specific position, P15 and down a little bit, you still got plenty of potential to make a really good race happen, especially if you've had a bad start. If you take proper advantage of pit windows by calculating when people are going in and when there's not traffic, you could totally make something work and get up there into the P10s, maybe even top 5s. It depends on the driver's skill and, of course, how the race develops around them. But I like these positions right here. We could see some
Currently on
head
board
up.
with Daniel Merchant. As you can see what he sees, you can also watch the throttle input, the brake input, the speed that he takes around the corners. And just watch the BMW of Sieblom and Aston Martin of Crew, what they are doing in front, what are their strengths, what are the weaknesses.
From oils into Britons. Now they are at the Hilltop Straight. We're going to see Hislop's corner here in a minute, see how they take those. There it is. You can see that the Porsche, there a little bit of sliding there from the Porsche. The Porsche works this way. If you handle it very, very softly and you get those lines very precisely, it's probably the fastest car on the grid if you have proper setup. But if it doesn't like you, you're going off the track. But it looks to me like Merchant's got a pretty good grip of his car right now. Let's move further up into Sjöblom, who, speaking of Merchant, is in a little bit of trouble, as they are both almost side by side with one another, but so is Barrowclough in the back, who is looking for an overtake. Correction, that would be Sharp, I believe, who is...
No, that would be Dave Cruz still with Sjöblom.
Ah! Oh my goodness, I'm so blind. Oh my lord.
But we have some side-by-side action at the lead for third place.
I gotta put on my glasses, man. Long day, long day. Mark Badowski, ooh, what happened there?
I'm trying to jump onto the replay. Yeah, let's look what happened to Bladowski, because he had not healthy, but good enough margin to Barnett behind him.
What happened here?
Bladowski looks like he just ran a little bit wide, and Barnett got much better run through the corner.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And wow, look, he was flying compared to the Mercedes there. Into oils, and straight through goes Barnett. Yeah, we missed that. Glad the replay camera got a catch of that, because Barnett just got, like I said, Porsche, perfect line, rocket straight through. Mercedes, principle is slightly similar, but not exactly, and we just saw a perfect example of that happening. We do have, not sure if this was caught by the cameras, we had RWB Koss, who unfortunately went off in the number 8 McLaren, and that is probably, well, not a race retirement, but he's in last currently. Unfortunate.
And it was to be another position lost for Dave Crew, as Jody Barrowclough gets by him, and also Daniel Merchant side by side with the turn 1.
In goes Merchant from the opposite side, and let's see behind what Adam Sharp can do in that beautiful looking banana Porsche. Oof, that looked for a second there that they were going to collide, but it looks to me like it was just the camera angle. I was already bracing with my seatbelt to see that, but guess it's not going to be the case. And Adam Sharp currently for From Motorsport in 20th place, getting right behind Mr. Crew. And here comes Anderson as well in the Aston Martin.
And we could say Dave Crew is currently just falling down like a rock. Does not seem to have enough speed, but also just keeps finding himself into a bad position, and you know, when you get passed by someone, you just are on the back foot into the next corner, and all of a sudden there's another car alongside you, and you just can't get into the line.
Take a look at this though. That Mercedes is getting awfully close, and now they're side by side. Looks like they got a better exit though, but Ruling is in a serious position here to get an overtake on Martin Schaefer for the for his team, and yeah, that threw me off a little bit. Jeroen Rowling, a little bit of problems from plate back there in the Audi, but better exit, better position. Off he goes.
And we could see Rigel getting past Martin Schaefer, Dean Banks into turn 1. The BMW driver just nicely down the inside checker. Banks tried to hang it around the outside, but
Nope,
not enough
no
grip
chance.
in the car. But Rigel goes a little bit wide on the approach to the hairpin.
Ooh. Banksy is looking for a gap right here. You see how he's looking down on the left, see if he could open up, but nope, not going to open the door for you now, says Rigel as they head into Britain's.
They go through quite a useless chicane, I would say, on the circuit.
Useless chicane.
Yeah, I would say, why you use that chicane when you also have this one? Because in the end, the cars are going to have to slow down here. There is no danger looming towards them.
Well, you don't want to have a straight like monsters in a track like this. I do believe there is a track configuration where you can have all of that straight, but that wouldn't be too fun. Not in GT4's, not in any car. I don't think. I don't like very straight circuits. But if you give me a Tilcadrome, I'll also pretty much just cry in a corner. Ammo plate for just in an Audi. I was gonna say the team name, but it's just Audi Sport. Well, fair enough. Speaking of Audi, RWB Audi in an RWB Audi. how's that?
Well, still better than Audi in BMW going around the outside of another Audi. We had that one. I think it's Constructors Championship.
RWB Audi in an Audi going there on the outside of another Audi. Yeah, I remember that. Michael Sumner for Allied Racing, as opposed to Rebellion Racing. Defending from Sky in the Mercedes. Seems to be getting a pretty good run, but it's not going to materialize, not in this corner anyway. And off goes into Old Hall down the avenue, see if we can get anything done. Nope.
Looks to be a pinpoint fighting off with Flag. Flag in the highlighter I-Pain Ginetta.
You got the Ginetta here with the high visibility vest on. Make sure you're seen on the track.
To get back to the top. Currently, you can see the top two are just driving off. With it being 1.5 seconds between first and second, and almost 6 seconds between second and third.
A lot of time, especially Barnett. A very big gap. Ulrich and Rogers flying off.
And RWB Rigel has managed to find himself another position, getting past the Mercedes of Mark Badowski into the final corner, as we saw. It looks like the BMW power is strong with him. For this race, Rigel did not have the best opening rounds at Snetterton. But you can see him slowly creeping around and going past people. Maybe it could be...
I don't know what's up with Badowski right now. I mean, you could totally just pin it down to different strategy or different philosophy in racing. Some people are putting in some serious pace right now, but Badowski could have better tires later, or could save more fuel later, and that can completely change a pit strategy. I think that was just him being overtaken, but you know, the pace Rigel and Barnett are putting in, for example, that we saw that early aggression, that could be negative later on in the race, but we won't be able to tell until it's time. Meanwhile, Mr. Banksy and his Aston Martin of yore.
Currently holding on P6, a driver for the HSP Motorsport group. With his teammates, as you might not see him by the colors, but in real life these two guys are teammates. There might be a little bit of
into the grass,
Ooh.
and that was
Oh, and there's the spin.
Oh, there's some serious contact there between Schaefer and Ruling, and that is going to be damaged. Oh, look at that. That is a popped front right there. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened there. It looks like Schaefer might have gone into the grass, and then the Mercedes behind unable to adjust to that. Let's take a look here, see if we can see. Here we go. We're up through into Lodge Corner. And we saw here near the deer leap, we had a Janetta going off slightly. You can see he's going off, and then and he's going in, and he touches into the side, and into the side. And that is a hefty chunker of a punch right there into the wall. And that's going to be, if it's not a pit-worthy accident, I don't know what it is. And you can see Ruling is already in P9, but Schaefer has it even worse in P13 as his driver number. And man, I think that was just, I don't think that was the fault of anyone. I think there was a miscalculation from him in his positioning when Schaefer made a mistake and he went off to the right, and then he tried to, and I don't think there was space there to go in. Touched him on the side.
I would say it is kind of like a racing incident, but Royling could have avoided it a little bit if he did not try to force the issue down the inside.
True.
Because Martin Schaefer was just trying to collect the Janetta, and you are not immediately in the control and knowing what's going on around after that. So maybe a little bit of patience and foreseeing from Royling could have helped.
I think Royling was under the impression that that Schaefer was going to stick to the right side, but he didn't stick to the right side. He's still out of control currently of his Janetta, and you saw Schaefer's Janetta into the left and off to the right, and he thought, okay, he's going to stick to it, and he didn't. But then again, as you said, maybe not necessary to force the overtake there. Ooh, let's talk about Barnett for a second. Look at that. He just got ahead of Rigel down through oils.
Well, I think that it's Rigel chasing Daniel Barnett for the podium position. And Rigel has some serious space in the M4 currently. But I think they're both slightly closing down on at least Martin Ulrich, who has lost quite a hefty chunk of time. It was just at 1.5 seconds between him and Rogers, and currently it's up to 1.4, so maybe even a little bit of traffic. As we can see, blue flags being waved around. So maybe traffic making its part in this race. And that will also be a problem, because as you can see, Oulton Park, it's tight, it's twisty circuits. There are not so many overtaking opportunities, and that also kind of limits the passing opportunities for cars that are being lapped. That's going to create some problems and definitely headaches for the leaders. As when do they pit?
Oh yeah.
Looking at the minimap, there's no free air, maybe a little bit between the car 96 and 45, as you can see.
Oh yeah, you've got Druid's Corner right there. That's straight. That goes all the way into Lodge. That's the only place where there isn't a lot of traffic. There are also some gaps. You can see right there in Britain's, that first chicane, there's also some space. But straights go by really quickly in these cars. So right now, lots of traffic. We might start seeing some laps, blue flags going off at the back of the grid. And now the question is, where are we going to pit? Or rather, when? Oh, one second. Number 4 seems to be in the pits right now. I do not know if that is for pitting or if that was an accident. Let me check.
Yeah, Mad Allah, I saw number 4 doing something wild, so I think that will be a retirement. Or at least
Mad Allah, currently in last place, who has entered the pits, and so has the 851 that belongs to Mr. Simon Mertens, who was in P40 before he entered the pit lane. And you've got some pits going on. I would have expected the accident from before causing some pit entries.
Looking down further the grid, RWB TAS currently leading the AM category. There are not many AM allocated drivers in this series. Usually everyone is fighting in the overall category, but we've got a few, let's say, gentleman drivers on the grid, and you can see this big train going around. Michael Summer currently being the conductor, with TAS, Sky, Simcox, and also Phil Wiley has managed to find himself in here after his pit stop, and it is a dive down inside from TAS, and he kind of miscalculated. Takes Summer with him, and that will be definitely one for the stewards, as TAS has completely misjudged his braking point, I think, and just took, we can see the contact between him and Summer.
That was a hefty kiss between those two Porsches right there. You can see in the TAS now has his front end busted up a little bit. They're not unsure if it was from that specific incident or one right after, but yeah, that's going to be some damage. And there's also some damage here on Sky's Mercedes.
Currently, Ian Simcox defending, but I don't think there will be much defense from Phil Varley, as they are both on different strategies. If Phil already has been in the pit lane and Simcox is yet to pit, I think it will be viable for Ian to just let the McLaren by. He's losing them both time, and time is really important here. As we have been joined in the commentary booth by Emery Cestakova.
I'm sure if that was intentional.
So am I.
Moving on.
Randomly flag keeping the P30 from Mike Boone. It looks like getting past and pulling away from the Aston Martin.
RWB Flack, and man, I like this vibe that they've got going on with the extremely eyesore Genetas. I don't know where that came from, but you've got a bunch of Genetas in like neon green and neon purple paint, and I initially hate it, but now I hate how much I like it. It's
how did you let it happen?
It's just. I didn't expect that, but I like the gimmick. It's people that don't take their liveries too seriously. They just want to be seen. Some people want to be seen because they have a good livery. Some people want to be seen because their livery is literally as bright as the sun, and that works.
Rod, look at the screen.
What?
We missed the fight for the lead.
No.
Yeah, we missed the change for the lead, as Alex Rogers is currently behind Martin Ulrich.
Oh, man. No, you can see right there what happened. There's an Alpine in the way that just blocked the entire combat from happening, and now Ulrich's in the front. Man, see, if you get me talking about something unrelated, we just start missing things, man.
You had one job.
I did. So, Alex Rogers behind Ulrich right now, and that is unexpected. It looks to be, we started with about maybe 5 seconds of gap a few minutes ago, 10, 20 minutes ago, and now, look at that, Ulrich just pacing slowly all the way back, and in he goes.
I think that must have been a mistake from Alex Rogers, because the gap was 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And when I jumped back to them, it was already Ulrich ahead, so maybe Rogers had a small tangle with the left car.
Probably with a lapped car. I don't see an accident here on his driver number that he was involved in anything, but it could have been just a mistake off into the grass. It could have been anything, really. A lot of like silly mistakes can net you a loss of position like that one.
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see if Rogers can get on the back of Ulrich and regain the lead. He was able to do that after contact with Dio in a previous race. It was, I think, Camaletto fighting with him. There was a little bit of contact, both have lost the lead, and Rogers managed to get it by. Maybe he'll be trying to replicate that as well in this race. And let's see, maybe even a little bit of strategy will be a part of that. Currently still the train led by Marco Badowski and Deanley Banks closely behind as the Alpine goes wide, and there was a contact with what looked to be an Emma plate. And that's not gonna be a happy day for the Audi driver. That certainly will be some damage. I'm not sure if it will affect his lap time too much, but the Alpine just went wide under the marbles trying to lead the leaders by. They just lost the car.
Completely.
That's maybe a little bit of inexperience from the other drivers, because even though we are letting someone, we need to also know how to let someone by. That's certainly a heart in the mouth moment also for Emma Plate, as he's in a good position, P7.
There it is.
Currently BMW of Doe behind him. Still, Martin Ulrichs currently holding his lead, but Rogers is already on the back of that Mercedes.
But I think that's strictly gap, right? Like strictly slipstream going on right now. Rogers doesn't seem to have an edge on Ulrich's pace right now. He's just holding on to the slipstream and seeing if an opportunity can present itself from a lapped car or him making a mistake. Kind of exactly what Ulrich was doing when he was behind Rogers. Look at that.
Well, I don't know if you would want to wait too long, because Rigel is slowly closing them down. Managed to close half a second in the last lap. So I think Rogers will want to get by the Mercedes as soon as possible, because Rigel has some serious pace. And still the fight continues for P5, Deanley Banks. Not being able to mount any kind of big offensive currently. So even lose a little bit of time to Badowski through the chicane. And still Plate hanging on. P7 in front of Doe. Looks like these guys are just holding the formation and doing laps. As gaps are starting to form, looks like everyone has tiny spread between themselves and the cars around. This being currently the tightest battle pack there is on a track. We have a white flag being waved, signalizing a slow car driving around.
Let's take a look, see here.
So it is a little bit of fighting. It's Nate Newcomer who was fighting Kevin Sieblum. It looks like Sieblum has lost the touch with the Chevrolet driver.
I wouldn't go that far, but what's going on with the plate here?
And also, look who's slowly creeping back into the top 10. Roiling.
Holy crap, I'm surprised about Ruling. He's still got all of that damage. You can see in the front and the back, that car is busted up. I'm surprised the car is even drivable after going into the wall like that, but it looks like it's not bothering him as he's back into P9. But it makes you think, how much longer can he keep that up? How's the car going to react with that damage when the tires start wearing down?
Well, definitely, that's gonna be a big question. As we see someone going into the pit lane, it looks to be a lapped car, so a little bit of clean air for this big group. And looks like Deanly Banks is starting to hold up the cars behind him, as Badowski has slowly created a small gap. And I think plate and door are starting to be held up just a tiny bit by the Aston Martin driver, and probably that's why Roiling has managed to close them down. But that's some serious speed from Roiling if he manages to catch up to these guys, even with the damage. Also, there is some catching up speed happening at the top, as Rogers is the Regal now just 1 second behind, so fight for the top positions definitely on. The Roiling has just stretched the gap to 1.5 seconds and currently keeping it there.
Man, Deanly, Banksy, and Badowski in the same shot with an Audi behind has been the same picture that we've seen since the race started. Have you noticed that? There's been, like, they are all so highly, like, strong right now in the sense that they're just really, really close up together. None of them are making a huge mistake. It's just, well, it's good to see at the same time, but it's also kind of like somebody crashed already. Ooh, in goes Barraclough. And is that Sharp right there in the 37 Porsche? Doesn't seem to be
a lapped car.
That is a lapped Porsche.
We've interrupted the fight between Sieblem and Barraclough. As we have a driver in the pits, that's Martin Ulrich.
Martin Ulrich, in he goes.
And this will be a vital part of the race as we are almost halfway through, 45 minutes remaining. And I'm interested, where is Ulrich going to feed out? This will be really important for him if he will have some clear air, or will there be traffic? Well, it looks to be mostly clean. There are a few cars in front of him. He might catch them at some point. But now important question is, how fast can Rogers and Regal go? As Ulrich will have cold tires after going through the pit lane. So it's now onto these two to just keep hammering laps while their tires are warm. And it was just 1.5 seconds. There might be a change for the lead brewing in a strategy. Let's see if they decide to go in this lap or carry on.
Yeah, I'm wondering what their strategy is, because the leader just went into the pits. And what is their strategy? Are they going to try and keep going? Because there's a lot of traffic back in front. Oh, look at that. None of them are going into the pits right now. And it looks like they're going to continue this battle. Regal hasn't been in the top step so far, but Rogers may go in to the pits, and then depending on what Rigel wants to do, we might see him lead a few laps. Ooh, what was that? Hang on, that Aston Martin right there, that 69 Aston Martin just popped its hood. It is completely gone.
This RWB Charger with a big trip.
Look at that! Oh my goodness, look at that hood. Can we see what happened? That is a massive, massive shunt. And that, look at that. That's a race retirement right there, isn't it?
Yeah. Literally after I said to the charge when he was parting with us, don't crash.
What was that? You think, can we get that on the replay somehow? Because that was...
My God.
Huh?
I can't do magic. I don't think the replay goes that far at this point, sadly, but it just looks like lots of grip and one-way ticket to the wall. Some bad days for Charger. Meanwhile, this group is still going. Still going strong. There is a dive bomb from Roiling into the chicane, trying to get by Doe, but Doe managed to shut it away from Roiling. I would be careful about diving aggressively down the corners because you can get the track warning quite fast and you get free, all of a sudden you get the fourth one, and again it's just a trip to the pit lane. So fight brewing is Daniel Barnett and Marko Badowski. That would be a net P4. Let's look at Mario Ulrich. He has quite a big gap to the next car that is in front of him, which is not even for a position. So Ulrich is currently able to just pump in the hot laps without any interference. So Rogers and Rigel. Is the question for Rigel, do you want to get by Rogers now? Because you know you might be able to get ahead of the Mercedes on strategy, but you might also think you are being held up, and if you start fighting, you are starting to lose the time that you really don't have. So definitely tough time for Rigel, thinking what is the best option. Maybe an undercut could be one, but the problem is you will go out on cold tires, and if you are not changing them, there's basically nothing to gain from that.
In goes Badowski again. Really hope Barnett keeps it together in this instance.
It looks like Daniel Barnett does not have the pace of the leaders, but does have some slides going on. That was looking wild.
It's a Porsche after all.
Yeah, but looks like Barnett, and we have a pit stop that Alex Rogers going into the pit lane.
In goes Rogers. It was about time. So Rigel, like we said, he's going to stick around. He's still got plenty of time to go in there, I suppose.
Yeah, and also Marko Badowski going in from the group that was there, maybe thinking, I need the clean air to get by these people. So Jack Kamala to joining in. Let's see, where is Martin Ulrich? Where is our... That should be next leader. Okay, into the final corner. Where do we have... I can't find... What is it? There is Alex. There is Alex just going out of the pit lane. Martin Ulrich. Look at him.
Whoa.
That's quite a gap for Ulrich. He has managed to pull on Alex Rogers.
That he has. Is that... Yeah, that's about 9 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes. How did that happen?
I know that's a huge gap.
That is an undercut and a half.
It does not seem to be an undercut. Maybe a little bit of fuel strategy from...
Oh, it's
Martin
Charger.
Ulrich.
Charger, what happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Charger, I said to you when you were leaving, don't crash.
Charger in the Aston Martin, or formerly in the Aston Martin, is now sitting down here in the booth with us. And, well, whatever that may have been, if you don't want to talk about it, unlucky, my friend.
I was getting, I clipped the curb and I was getting pressure loss on the left rear. And he was down to about 25.9. So I came around the first corner and clipped the curb on the left-hand side. The car just spun.
Bam, yeah.
And it absolutely wrecked the car. It wasn't even that hard of a hit, but I couldn't. It was just too dangerous to try and get around the track.
Yeah, we were looking at the we saw you in the camera, and your hood and the front hood of that Aston was just, it was flying. It was all the way up. Like, that looked like the suspension was totally broken in there. Unfortunate. That didn't.
The wheel was at 90 degrees. I couldn't. I was like, there's no way I can get this round a lap without taking someone out, you know. So I did contemplate cutting the track, but that's not the right thing to do. It was a retire. I mean, the hit wasn't that hard.
There's something happening with Daniel Barnett.
Oh, what is that? P7.
He was falling slowly.
Oh my goodness!
It looks like a puncture for Barnett. I'm not sure.
Oh, and he's off again. Look at that. Could that be something with his tires? What is going on right there? And off goes the advertisement board, and he's in the grass. And I can't see a puncture. Maybe it's slow.
It just looks to me like the left rear is slightly down on the car.
Oh.
You can see the car being slightly tilted to the side. There's also Rigel is going.
Oh, yes, there it is. That looks just like a rear puncture. The way he turned into the corner, that looks like a slow puncture. Maybe the way he turned into the corner. You see how the car did like a little donut? I think that is a puncture in the left rear, like Racer just pointed out. And look at that, right into the pits. And we're probably going to be seeing a change of tires here for Barnett. Tragic. How did that happen? It could have been contact, but I didn't see any accident happening between either of them.
And someone who has been in the pit lane in the meantime is RWB Rigel. And if I'm correct, he must have gotten out in front of Martin Ulrich. And look at that!
Yeah, that is a lot of time.
The curve's terrible round here for taking you.
Yeah, it seems like the same thing that happened to you, Charger. Also hit Daniel Barnett. And I'm just thinking, if some people were maybe changing their tires.
21 car off the track, yellow flag. Can we look at that?
21, if I can find them.
That's
Damien Wilk.
Damien Wilk, what's happened? And look at that. Oh, it looks like he's got damage. Oh.
Jump onto the replay.
Let's see, look at that.
I think it's Felix Fritsch there. I think dive.
And oh, look at that! Off goes the Alpine, and off goes the Aston. And that looked like a 3 wide that just wasn't meant to happen. Look at that. The Alpine
of Dirk Gretschel looks like lost the rear on the Alpine, and just Damien Wilk was in the way.
And look at that, the 21 Aston. Now, Damien Wilk had to wait all of that time waiting for people to pass with all the traffic, and now in 31st plus damage. Oof. And look who we weren't expecting, or who we were expecting in P1, DOR, who has just been, he hasn't been in the top steps a lot, but, slowly creeping up. We saw him in the cameras, and now he's here. But still got a lot of pit window to go, so... And he's chased by none other than Ruling. Oh, did we just miss that? It looked like Ruling was going in for a move there.
No, didn't know.
It just looks like Ruling is working for an overtake right now into this Bimmer right here. Oh, and that's the thing with lapped cars in this particular track, tight corners like these. If the lapped car doesn't work properly with you, you could easily go off and cause a bit of an accident. But look at that, just like that Aston slowing down, not really going to cost you much. And both drivers safely on through. Right, let's move on.
But I'm still surprised by Rigel because he was stuck behind of the rear wing on Alex Rogers for so long. It just looks like Rogers took tires in the pit stop or just took more fuel. I'm not sure if the fuel is capped at 30 seconds or if it is like it doesn't have the 30-second fueling limit.
Regardless,
we got our first penalty for Gianni Lenz. The McDonald's Chevrolet being a bit creative about track limit.
That is a drive-through for Jenny Lance, and oof. Oh, look at that! Rolling into the pits.
Missing his speed box a little bit.
We all do that. I hope everyone does that, because otherwise, yeah.
Never in my life have I ever missed my braking point for the speed box.
Oh, that was a fast pit right there. That looked like just a splash of fuel, or maybe a repair? Unknown, but that didn't look like a full pit to me.
I think a lot of people are just taking 1 litre. That was my strat.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if you have 1 liter, how did...
I think you can probably... look, here's the thing. These tires, you can probably double or even triple stint them. No problem. These tires, well... and then you've got Charger, or sorry, not Charger, freaking Rolling. It was also not rolling. My God, man, Barnett, my man. I am asleep today. You've got Barnett, who definitely cannot double stint those tires. But these tires are, let me correct that, designed to double stint or triple stint. So they're mostly going to be going for fuel. And even then, in these cars, fuel, you could be able to take advantage of. You can do a bunch of fuel saving. Maybe only have to make a quick splash and dash out of the pits. That could be a strat. Definitely something that I would not rule out.
Fuel calculation, you need about 90 something litres. The cars will hold more than that. So it's all about, it's all about whether you want to push the stint to 80% or, and run the fuel low and then just do a splash and dash, or you want to do a 50-50. A lot of strategies going on out there.
I'm not sure that some people are actually know something about this strategy, because I'm just looking at Martin Ulrich and Alex Rogers being in the position they are, and Badowski was, it was like 10 seconds from second place to him, and he has managed to pass the leader. Also, there's looks like the Camaletto exploring a little bit of the off tracks, and then we have a Rigel just gaining what is looks to me like 5-6 seconds. I don't think that's just pure lap time. Maybe as well people missing their pitbox, being more cautious on the entry, and that's really wild from Martin Ulrich.
Into oils.
Being almost on the grass with his right-hand side tires. Luckily, he managed to stop the car. But this is tough time now for Badowski, as he is being held up by the McLaren of RWB Axe, who is not stopped yet. Yeah, Rigel, who looks to me, if I do quick math, 8 seconds in front of these guys. Well, again, a little bit wide from Ulrich, pushing the Mercedes as hard as he can. Maybe a little bit of overdriving from Ulrich. That would slightly bite him as some dust being thrown up. And if you see this as Martin Ulrich or Marco Badowski, you're not happy. You see this, you have to be a little bit scared with all these cars being out of positions, fighting for the race of their own.
I'm absolutely gutted. I was doing all right as well. I was up to 20 something.
And then it's Hacks. No, there wasn't Hacks. It's the Aston Martin of Damien Wilk. And the Hacks going wide as well. I think Hacks tried to dive inside and scared.
Someone panicked there.
That looked like that just looked like nerves to me.
Yeah. I think he thought Hacks was coming across there and he may have lifted a brake slightly.
I think it's just Hacks returning quite widely onto the track, and Aston Martin that was there tried to react, and Rogers did not expect something like that to happen. And this will definitely be one for the stewards to say who was at fault there. But this race is slowly starting to slip away through the hands of Alex Rogers. He had the pole, he had a lead to 2.5 seconds, and then we come back to him and he's in second place, slowly losing time. And something can did not expect from the race winner of the last race, where he was commandingly winning by 8 seconds in the end.
Yeah, I think the race strategy's in the slow it down. Obviously, Hax is running long. Alex has changed tyres. But to try and get past, it's really difficult to get past. You know, you got to wait for a mistake. You got to probe and find the weakness. And this track, there's not many overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, we've been talking about the Badowski will be happy about this fact because he is holding up Martin Ulrich as much as he can. Although you might think they are both driving Mercedes, it's every man for himself in this series. So no team orders. James is not part of this championship. It was Martin Ulrich having to fight it out by himself. You can see him just showing the nose into the mirrors of Marco Badowski.
Has DOR pitted?
Not yet. Nobody in the top 5 has pitted yet. Also, Emil Sjöblom.
It's because I was wondering, how did Kruger and DOR get up there? I mean, not that Kruger and DOR are unskilled. I was just surprised that, like, if they pit, they must have had like a godly strategy, but it looks like they haven't yet. So
I was saying we need a safety car in this game at some point, just to spice up the opportunities. Because I think after Chargers Endeavors, we would need one for sure. But is your, just thinking, what do you guys think? Should we have a safety car or just full yellows happening? Yeah, I can see your brain melting there, Rod.
Safety. Oh, safety. Speaking of safety car, Ulrich might want one there. No, he's recovered just fine. Safety cars, full quarters yellows. I mean, sure, but what about the 10 guys in the grid crashing at once? That's glorious. You can't make that. You can't have that anywhere else. What about What about an incident that looks worse than Formula 1 Spa in like '91?
Well, that's when we just shut down the server and leave it to the people.
What safety car? There is no safety. There's definitely cars, but they're not safety cars.
If we gave the safety car to Lance, it would probably not even be safe.
Yeah, depending on who you give the safety car to. We should just like, there should be a series where everyone has a safety car paint on, and it's just which safety car is faster.
And meanwhile, our provisional leader, Riel, not that one, the one that's on the paper leading, Riel. Managed to find himself onto the back of Jody Barrowclough. So there is a pace in that M4. And as you can see, it's just a German occupation in the top 6 with 5 M4s in the top 7.
BMW is strong round here, aren't they?
It is.
Well, I expected a little bit more from the Ginettas, to be fair. But I guess... I go back literally in the correct time as Martin Ulrich spinning out, hitting the wall. And yeah, that's just him saying, fuck it, I had enough.
In they go. Look at that, Barclough. I think it's Barclough, not Barrowclough.
I think it's Barrowclough.
Barrowclough.
Barrowclough. I am not versed in these surnames, man. DOR, Binnersley, and Kruger. That is a completely different podium right now from what we were expecting, right? Because last outing, we had Rogers, Camaletto, and Ulrich. No, but then again, Binnersley was P4 in that last race, and Kruger wasn't very far off either. He was in P10. So yeah. I suppose in a way, and DOR P11. So in a way, that's not completely unexpected. All of these drivers were definitely in a position to get something done.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Michael Ulrich. that rage quit, that I think it might cost him in the end of the season. But, you have a bad race, but also look at Rogers. He's not having a great one either, and there might be a penalty moving over his name or the collision that happened before.
Whoa.
So you never know. Anything can happen. You hit the wall, keep on, and what happened? There's just 20 minutes left, but the rail is currently being hustled by Mercedes.
Whoa. That seems to. We seem to be getting comps from a submarine right now. Anyone else getting that?
I became the submarine.
Yeah, no. Something went off with the connection for a second there, because Racer, I was getting some weird like Morse code coming around, but yeah. No, I'm kidding. I want to talk about ruling right now. Actually, I want to talk about the man behind him, Schaefer, who is on his way up in that disgusting Ginetta that I hate to love. Ruling, who still has that damage, by the way. I mean, in a race like this, in GT4's, pitting for an excessive amount of time is not worth it. And I think Ruling saw that he didn't have enough damage, and he was like, balls to the walls, see if this goes. And into oil, and if the car handles... Ooh, did we just have an overtake there? No, there's some traffic right there from a lapped Rogers. It's got a lapped Porsche in front, and now behind, rather. And they, into Britons, and that Porsche is pretty eager to get back into the action.
It looks like Marty Jeffrey is slowly climbing
Catching
back.
up. Yeah, it looks like he's catching up, isn't he?
Yeah, might be a fight between these two. They were in a little bit of tangle in the race between before. But both will certainly want to keep it cleaner this time. Yeah, it looks like Martin has the better cornering speeds currently. Maybe that damage that is in Royling's car is starting to affect him a bit more when the fuel load is getting lighter and lighter. From P7, Emil Sieblom is going to the pit lane, Emil usually being one of the later ones to stop. So still our top four, though Winnesley, Kruger and Newcomer are yet to pit as the vital parts of this race. You can see Royling being really uncomfortable in the Mercedes, the back end just stepping out a little bit on the exit of turn 1. And with them having the lapped car in front of them, there might be an opportunity for Martin Schaefer to get by. Well, Miko Sky currently in the 25th position. And we can see another victim of the track limits being RWB point, managing to get himself a drive-through penalty as well, so it's another unwanted trip through the pit lane. As we saw a car perpendicular to the track, and I think that was Mad Al's Ginetta at the back, sideways through the hairpin. Currently, though, leading away, still waiting his pit stop, so is Rick Winnersley. Samuel Kruger in P3 and also nice newcomer. still has Rigel closely behind.
Schaefer has entered P10 currently.
But I think Rigel has picked up where Rogers has left off.
Still need. There are still pits needed for the top 4, right?
Yeah.
How haven't they pitted yet? What's the strat? Because they're going to have to go in and pit and take a splash anyway. And that's going to make them...
12 minutes of the pit window still open with 17 minutes remaining in the race. And we saw in the previous race people taking it to the limit of the pit window, so maybe also them thinking, as long as we stay out, we might be able to either go faster or just avoid any problems with other cars. And it is a viable strategy to just keep driving. If you are fast, you are going to get past someone, even without having to fight them for a position.
I don't know, I'm just still kind of put off by the interesting pit strategy here, because I would have gone in very, very, very long ago.
I think we saw a spin from Evo Plate. I managed to see something happening, a yellow flag around, and then just Evo Plate catching the outer end. When even hitting a wall. That's Evo Plate losing lots of time. That will be probably some damage to the diffuser and the rear wing that might make the car oversteer and just snap a little bit more than usual. And we were talking about Martin Schaefer getting close to Jeroen Royling. Well, Schaefer is now down to P11 and Royling has managed to get by Deanly Banks, so the damage that was on the Mercedes, maybe he has managed to fix it during the pit cycle. And now he is fast, he is going fast, and he is the last race winner, Alex Rogers, in front of him. And I think he has his sights set clearly to just go forward and don't look back. We are looking through the eyes of Deanly Banks, still keeping on the back of Jeroen Royling. Looking down the inside, but I don't think there will be a chance into next corner, but it is enough to scare your opponent into taking a different line than he would want. To see Royling compromising his line through the hairpin a little bit. Suddenly not managing to get exit on him. And Royling definitely is currently feeling the pressure of the car behind him. Royling getting a little bit urgency on the exit, and this gives the chance to Deanly Banks. Trying to go around the outside into turn 1, not gonna happen, but he can have the cutback line. But still, this will only yield him the outside line for the next corner, but it is looking to be ahead of the Mercedes driver. As Rolling dives down the inside, it's really close between them. Rolling has a little bit of contact with Banks. It unsettles the Mercedes, but it seems like the only Banks has kept the car going. Doesn't look to be too much affected. And maybe there was not even a contact, but just the mass transfer for Rolling. It's unsettled the car, and now Martin Schaefer is still there behind him, looming in the background. So might be that if Rolling pushes a bit too much, Schaefer will find an opportunity presenting itself. And still Rigel behind the newcomer. Does not seem like Rigel wants to push the initiative too much and is happy to just drive behind Nate. I'm just thinking, if this could make out for Doe, if he's just trying to stretch this stint, because it looks like it's almost 23 seconds to Rigel. And Charger, I'm not sure how long is the transit through the pit lane also with the service around here.
I'd say it's less than 23. I mean, yeah, it's tight. It's 30 seconds maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're doing the splash and dash.
This could be very close for Rigel. The pit lane around here is not too long. If it was something like Spa, then this wouldn't be much of a problem. Speaking of which, we are going to go to Spa as our, I think, 4th round of this championship. And with 5 minutes remaining in the pit window, we are going to find our answers, I think, really soon.
We are entering the last 10 minutes of this round, and look at that. Bendersley into the pits. I was wondering when they were coming in, but here's the thing. You know what? It might actually be a strat. If they go in and they just take a splash of fuel, it looks like that's what Bendersley's doing. Look at that. Splash and dash, and where is he coming out? Because this could have actually been a strat if he comes out anywhere within the top 10. And look at that, on through right behind the Porsche. Where does he come out? Rigel currently is in P3, has also pitted.
Also, Nate Newcomer has came into the pit lane.
Nick Newcomer is at least in P11, and now we've only got Kruger and DOR. But Rigel, look at that. He's pit, but he's in P3. Oh, of course. Well, that is because he pit before. But what I'm saying is, what I mean to say is, I came off there as like Rigel pit, but he stayed in P3. No, not quite. What I mean is, Rigel ran the standard strategy, and now he's in P3, and he's only behind the people that haven't pit yet. So could it have been a misjudgment to try and go for the very, very late pit entrance?
And I think we saw another bunch there, Audi of what looked to be Samuel Kruger, going really slowly.
Ooh, man, a lot of punctures going off here. This looks like Silverstone 2020 from Formula 1.
Oh yeah, it's people taking advantage, taking the curbs quite widely.
Oh, there's a car facing the wrong way. That is a Porsche. That is the 555 right there.
Yeah, that looks to be Mats Sierblom, the father racing in this series.
Oh my goodness, what happened to that 555 right there? He just went off, straight off.
And why is Samuel Kruger being shown as third on the live timing? I have no idea.
That's when they cross the line, it'll fix itself. But look at that, yet that Porsche right there who just spun out. And I think that they just went into the pits. Yeah, there they go. Into the pits they go. Kruger needed to pit due to his mandatory pit stop, but that Porsche, I think they just had a puncture.
No, I think Kruger has a puncture as well on the rear left. You can see the car being slightly tilted to the side.
Well,
this will be a long one, and Nate Newcomer has come in again.
Oh my god, yes. Did he forget to put in fuel?
How can you pit and forget to put in fuel?
I've done that before, Racer.
Yeah, but literally you have to put in 1 liter. You don't have any big strategies going on.
Perhaps, no, what he could have done is he could have ran low fuel for more speed, and then he had to fuel up. But this doesn't look like it was a long fuel run. It looked like it was just another splash and dash.
We shall see as we have things going on between Jack Camelot and Alex Rogers.
That BMW is off. Rogers is off. Rogers is off. Our race lead for almost the entire race is off of the track, ladies and gentlemen. What happened here? Look at that. You had that fight into oils with that other Aston Martin, and it was all going just fine. They were going side by side. It's fine down into oils, and off they go into Britain's, and then Britain's was where the action went down. Look at this. And see, he's going in, got tightened up. There was some touching there, and oh, he just went off.
Yeah, Camelot jumping over the
and he's back into the track. No! Oh my goodness. That is tragic. Rogers went back into the track and the Porsche had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. For Alex Rogers also making mistakes. So I think this is too much in only.
I'm trying to work this out here. Door's pitted. Roger's still 20 seconds behind. He can't be 20 seconds behind.
No, Door.
My goodness.
Look at that. DOR and Rigel between 2 seconds of each other. But DOR, he has succeeded in pitting, and he still has the P1 position. DOR, who we didn't expect to be all the way up here, look at that. Now he's only got 5 minutes left to go.
Where did Dor start? He was in around the top 10, but
yes. Yes, he was around the top 10, and same applies to his previous race where he ended up in P11. But look at that, P11, P1. Like I said, when you're in P10, there was such a small gap in qualifying. These are drivers with very similar skills, but also very different cars. So it just went from wherever he was, which I believe was between the top 10, and straight into P1 through pure strategy.
Also, I think it's a retirement for Alex Rogers. He's currently falling down. And our race winner from previous race, DNF, and I think Martin Ulrich might be kicking himself after hearing about that. After he just retired the car. This could have been a great points game from him.
Man, that just hurt to look at from Rogers there. Very unfortunate returning to the track there. But, you know, that's just something the car radar just can't tell you. That's sort of maybe like an external... like Trucker Task says in the YouTube chat, says bad entrance, and that's fine. Yeah, bad re-entry. That Porsche had all the space in the world to make its move, but he just got in the way, and you can't do that. The preference is on the person that's on the track, and well, that costed him the race right there. Unfortunate to see after such a performance.
Just few minutes remaining. Dor looks to be not comfortably in the lead, but it looks to be good enough for him.
I mean,
definitely will be pushing as much as he can.
Regardless of whether it's comfortable or not, taking the lead is taking the lead.
I think Rigel's chipping away at him slowly, but I don't think he's got enough.
No, not right now anyway.
This looks to be like 2 laps remaining at best, with lap times being around 1:44.
Pit window is closed. I do not believe anyone forgot to make their pit, which is a good sign.
But the gap is even risen now, up to 2 seconds. So what is 1.5? I think this would take a big problem from the door, or just a great lapse from Regain to regain.
Here we are. 2 minutes and 34 remaining.
As Dealey Banks tries to go around the outside to turn 1 on track Camaletto.
Camaletto, oh my goodness, in they go. Could we have another incident? In goes Deanley Banks. You can see, oh, there goes Banksian out from the inside, and off he cuts just in front of him. That was nice. That was good to look at. I really like that.
cool as a cucumber, are you, Rod?
I thought that was going to be an accident. I already had my teeth gritting because I didn't think Banksy would go in like that. But you know what? Beats me. I had no idea what he was going to do there, but he made it stick.
That's a great move. Moves up Dean into P5 and top 5 in his first race of the British GT. I think he will be happy about that.
I mean, I'd be happy just finishing the way things are going. So yeah, P5.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
had quite a lot of incidents in the race, even from the big guys you would not expect. But you have to take your opportunities when they arrive. And Dor has managed that. He goes on to the final lap of the race, 1.6 seconds, Regal behind him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the final lap of this British GT RWB round 2, and DOR has shown us a performance unexpected, very covert, but he's kept it consistent, and now his pit strategy has just been perfect in order to permit this potential win. The only thing that could stop him right now is Rigel, who's right up next to him in that BMW Summer 72, less than 2 seconds away, and we've got 40 seconds left on the clock as they head into oils. Can Rigel reach up to DOR? The only way he's going to make it is if DOR makes a mistake, but he's been cool the entire race. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, he might have to settle for a P2 finish right here in Oulton Park.
Yeah, almost perfect day for the Munich manufacturer. With 2 cars on the podium, almost making the BMW top 3 with Binersley in P4, but Badowski just slipped his Mercedes there. I did say Barko Badowski, he was looking good at the start. Then kinda it started falling away in the mid-race, but kept it clean and he managed to find himself in P3.
White flag is out, and DOR is looking to take that checkered flag. He's got traffic in the front from that Alpine.
White flag sponsored by Credit One Bank, presented by RWB. As we go into the final
Off he
corner.
goes, he filters through the traffic, and that Alpine gets out of the way, but now they're super close out of this exit. Look at that, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be enough. And it is not. DOR is your winner of the Oulton Park round here in the RWB British GT4 Championship. DOR, Rigel, and Badowski make up your P3. Now the top 5 Binersley, P4, Banks, P5, Camaletto follows. In goes Ruling with a P7. Schaefer in that Ginetta on his way to P8. You can see he's going right on through. He's got Schubel behind extremely close, but then again, he's not going to have enough time down through the deer leap, and Schaefer P8, Schubel P9, and Baraklov just once again through the lodge corner, and he's also got Sharp pretty close, but now no top 10 tonight for the Banana as he finishes P10. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your P10. DOR, Rigel, Badowski, Binersley, Banks, Camaletto, Rolling, Schaefer, Schubelum, and Barklov. And we've got 5 BMWs in the top 10 tonight. And if you wish to see any more data, Pitwall Live is available for this race at the current moment. If you want to see your favorite drivers finish, you see all of the other drivers are currently headed into the finish right here. And
I'll try to get Dor maybe to talk a little bit with us.
And DOR is currently your round 2 winner.
No, are you there? Can you hear me? I think you can hear us, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, something with DOR's microphone is not working correctly. I can hear his mic opening, but I can't hear him speak. Tragic.
No.
Try your mic cable, see if it's in properly.
No, not that.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll have to probably skip this one then.
tragic.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oh,
yeah.
now we've got it.
Got
DOR, unexpected, P11 in the last round, but it looks like that strategy just came out perfectly. We were unsure as to whether the people that were pitting at the very end were going to get an advantage out of that, but it seems to not be the case. So congratulations, this round 2 win in that 917 BMW.
Yeah, thanks. I've no idea how everything panned out. I was just focusing on my own race, but yeah, really happy with it.
Honestly, we were just as surprised. We're just as surprised as you are. So, what were your plans for this race? What's the kind of strategy you were going for?
Initially, to qualify in the top 5, which didn't happen. So I qualified 10th, I think it was. So that was a little bit disappointing. But I set a decent time. It just wasn't as good as I'd hoped. And I would say at the beginning of the race, probably within the first 5 laps, you could just see it was a single file train.
Yeah.
There's no real chance to build up any momentum to sort of make a move on anyone. So it felt like it was just a war of attrition, just wait for somebody to make a mistake. A few people did, and just hang in there, I guess.
So what was the point in your strategy that you realized, oh my God, I could actually win this race? What exactly was the turning factor for your strategy?
I guess just seeing a lot of the guys pit early and realizing that they weren't gaining any time. They were stuck in traffic after the pit. Assuming that Alex Rogers had some kind of issue, otherwise he probably would have stayed out, I think. So I guess I was a little bit lucky there. And it was just a case of staying out and avoiding any kind of traffic.
And we've got the rest of our top 3 also with us.
And well, DOR, that hindsight that has brought you a race victory, being able to adapt to the pit strategies of the rest, seeing that it wasn't going to work out, and here you are. So congratulations, man. We've also joining us are the rest of the top 3 finishers.
Yeah, Marko Badowski and RWB Rigel. So I would jump to the 2nd place. Rigel, you were fast at the start of the race. You were slowly creeping up to the leaders. It was almost looking like a race win, but something happened during the pit cycle. How was it from your perspective?
No. Normally I'll run the same strategy as Door does and fuel quite heavy and then pit somewhere near the end. But on this occasion I hedged my bets a little bit and went with 65 litres or so, and then was going to add 35 in the stop. I was actually planning to change tyres, but about halfway through, I thought, well, these feel quite good. I might stick with these. But no, it would have. I think I would have pipped it if I'd not had that fight with Nate Newcomer. There was a group of 4 or 5 in front of me that hadn't pitted, and all I had to do was creep up to them and hopefully get past. It was a good measuring stick actually to see that I could actually keep a pace or catch them, considering I hadn't changed tyres. But I managed to either get past most of them or they pitted just before I got to them until I got to Nate. And I had a good battle with him for about 4 or 5 laps and almost got past him once, but didn't quite. And when it came to the closing phase, it was a bit of dismay. I saw Door coming out the pits in front of me. I thought I still had the bit of pace to get in, but I think the tyres were just starting to slip a bit by then, so I couldn't quite close the gap well enough. I think fate had already been decided about 10, 15 laps before when I was having a fight with Nate. Well done, Tor.
Yeah, we saw some people having problems with the tires, some punctures. Was that a little bit of worry also from your side when you were coming to the pit lane?
Quite a few people I think were having problems with it, but I think it was a question of how you attack the curbs and how you caught them. I got my tire pressure pretty much bang on for the entire race, and I think that helped. I think if you were perhaps slightly overpressured or slightly underpressured, you're perhaps a bit more susceptible. And I think it comes down to what line you take over them as well. You try to avoid certain lines over them.
And our final podium position, Marco Badowski. Marco, you were fighting at the top at the start of the race, then I think you were slowly fading into the big train that was behind, only to find yourself surviving and finishing in a first podium. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels really good actually. If you told me that I would finish on the podium this race, I would have signed right away. But yeah, the race start I had way too high tire pressures at some point, up to 29, I think, because I wanted to fully send it over the curbs and bring the pressures down towards the end of the race, which kind of worked, but it was a little bit too late.
It was a nice switcheroonie as from last week, actually. Marco finished in front of me, so I'll be glad to turn the tables this week.
Yeah, and not only did you turn the tables, went from a P8, P9, and now straight into the podium with a real chance of making a mark on the championship right here. So it's interesting to see how each driver adapted to the very unforgiving curbs in this track and like the different pit strategies. It's really cool to see. I like that aggression from the start from you, Marco. And it seemed to keep it together all the way through, and it just materialized into a podium. Well, not out of thin air. It took some real effort. It was good to see you out there. So congratulations on that podium, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm out of the questions. I'm not sure about anyone else.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on that podium. We hope to see you competing again in this third round. See if you can translate this podium finish into another one and see if it ends up in the end making a serious mark on the championship. Might even see you taking some of the big steps at the end, taking some trophies.
Alright, I think it's time to bail this out. Thank you for watching us. I hope you enjoyed this race. I hope you enjoyed the cars going around. If you feel like maybe joining us, find us on rwb.club. We've got racing for every skill set of drivers, even if you are an avid sim racer or you just want to pick up and go driving around. We do endurance rounds, as you see, also these championships. We do just fun rounds in the evenings. For the fun of it, make sure to check out us again or the rwbinternational.club on our Discord, on our YouTube channel, and we will be hoping to see you again next time for another race.